For the Infinity Saga, the big question on everyone's mind was who's going to die? But now, with the entire multiverse on the verge of collapsing, the question for Avengers Doomsday is, well, it's a lot more desperate. So today, we're going to break down this absolutely fantastic theory from the Super channel that predicts the top 10 characters who will survive the end of, well, everything. Seriously, think back to the lead up to Infinity War. The entire fandom was buzzing, asking that one single question: who's going to bite the dust? But as we're heading towards the collapse of the multiverse itself, that whole conversation has shifted. It's gotten way more intense.
Yeah, exactly. This isn't about heroic sacrifice anymore. This is about pure, raw survival. When literally everything is ending, who is actually going to be left standing in the rubble? Let's dive into some answers.
Okay, so let's kick things off, and we're gonna go rapid fire for the first half of this list, numbers 10 all the way down to 6. These are the characters who, according to this theory, are gonna manage to just weather that initial catastrophic storm. Coming in at number 10, we've got Peter Quill, Star-Lord himself. With the original Avengers team pretty much gone, the theory goes that Quill is gonna have to step up in a big way. He's a proven leader, a strategist, and he'll supposedly team up with the young Avengers and lead them into the quantum realm to try and find a way out of this mess. And speaking of those guys, at number 9, we have the Young Avengers. Now, the reasoning here is pretty fascinating. It's that their survival might just be a ghost of the movie's original script. Remember, Kang Dynasty was first pitched as a Young Avengers-led film, and it's super likely that some of that DNA is still in the story, making sure they get through to the other side. At number 8, a villainous team-up, and this is so cool. When incursions are wiping out all of reality, do you really think only the heroes are going to try to stop it? No way. Even supervillains need a world to control, so you can expect to see a team of villains. Think Namor, the leader, maybe even a new Thanos variant, forming their own cabal just to save their own necks. Our 7th survivor is the master of the mystic arts, Doctor Strange. And this theory suggests that Strange, seeing the multiversal collapse as totally inevitable, is going to make a really pragmatic, maybe even cold, choice. He'll find Dr. Doom, and he'll agree to his plan, becoming his top advisor in Battleworld. Why? Because Doom's way might be the only way to save even a tiny fraction of reality. And rounding out the first half at number 6, of course, it's Deadpool. Was there ever any doubt? His survival is practically a guarantee. And the reason is simple. He has one superpower nobody else does. He knows he's in a movie. That fourth wall-breaking awareness makes him almost impossible to kill by normal story rules. He knows all the loopholes because he knows he's in a story. All right, let's take a breath. We're moving into the top 5 now. And these characters, they're not just survivors. These are the heavy hitters, the pivotal figures who are predicted to shape the entire next saga, starting with Secret Wars. Kicking off our top 5 is a true OG, a real legacy hero. That's right, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. But here's the twist. He doesn't survive by hiding in the quantum realm. This theory suggests that he, along with a few other key heroes, is going to use a completely different method, a brilliant, desperate piece of tech known as the Raft. So what is the Raft? Okay, think of it like a multiversal lifeboat. It's not about escaping from reality. No, it's a self-contained vessel, a high-tech ark, designed by absolute geniuses to shield everyone inside from the complete destruction of reality, basically preserving them right through the storm. And that brings us to our number 4 survivor, who just happens to be the person who makes the Raft even possible in the first place. Yeah, it pretty much has to be a Black Panther. It doesn't matter if it's Shuri or maybe a T'Challa from another universe. A Black Panther has to survive because they're the only ones with the advanced Wakandan tech and the vibranium needed to actually build and run the Raft. From a story perspective, they are absolutely essential for this plan to even get off the ground. Coming in at number 3 is a character whose survival is a total given, but whose role in all of this is probably the biggest shocker on the whole list. Everyone just assumes the god of stories will be Doom's main opponent, right? It makes sense. But what if that's completely wrong? What if, after watching his entire multiverse crumble to dust despite everything he did, Loki decides to side with the one person who actually has a plan to save something, even if that something is broken? And here's why this makes a ton of sense. Loki has already seen that he can't save everything. He tried, and he failed. So when Dr. Doom shows up with a plan for one stable, single battleworld, Loki might just support him. Not as a villain, but as a god making an impossible choice to preserve some kind of life over no life at all. So you've got this high-tech lifeboat, the Raft, full of surviving heroes. But who's going to lead them against God Emperor Doom? Well, at number 2, we have the tactical leader they're all going to need. And that leader is Cyclops. Come on, this is the perfect chance to give Scott Summers the justice he has always deserved on the big screen. He'll survive Doomsday to become the field commander for all the remaining heroes, leading the charge from the Raft to take back their reality in Secret Wars. And that brings us to number 1, the final survivor. And look, this isn't just another character who makes it through. This is the person who makes survival possible, the architect behind the entire plan to begin with. The one character whose introduction is absolutely essential for this whole storyline to work, the one who is going to save them all is Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic. Of course, it has to be him. He is the creator of the Raft. He is Dr. Doom's greatest rival, his intellectual equal. He is the one who's going to figure out the plan to eventually beat Doom, and this is the most important part, he will be the architect who reboots the entire MCU after Secret Wars. For the story to work, he is completely indispensable. So when you boil it all down, this theory gives us 2 very different paths to survival. You've got the quantum realm, which is basically a desperate, chaotic jump into the complete unknown, and then you have the Raft, a calculated, engineered lifeboat in the middle of a storm. One is all about escape, and the other is about endurance. And all of this leaves us with one final, kind of haunting question, doesn't it? These heroes might survive Doomsday, either by hiding out in the unknown or being preserved in this high-tech ark. But after the multiverse is shattered and then forcibly rebuilt, what kind of universe is actually going to be left for them to save?